Namaskaram, Sadguru. There is so much for this country to take into consideration as we head into this election. So many issues. To name a few, it's economic challenges, refugee humanitarian efforts, this racial tensions, and we can go on and on and on. Even the strife between the presidential campaign is so tense. What guidance can you give us in this era now?
You're getting me into the political morass, huh? See, we must understand this. Fundamentally, democracy means, the equivalent word in southern Indian languages, in Tamil, democracy means jananayakam. This means the rule of the people. Democracy means that. It is not that you're electing a ruler, you're electing a representative who'll rule on your behalf. That's what democracy means. But this will be a functional democracy only when every individual votes according to their individual choice. I'm saying this across the world, particularly in America. Now we have become two tribes. The parties are no more parties, they're tribes. My grandfather was a Democrat, my father was a Democrat, so I am one, or the other Republican, I am one. You are creating two tribes. If you vote on tribal loyalties, this is feudalistic system. In a democratic garb, it's no use. Democracy means every time your vote is a considered vote, not a committed vote. If you have a committed vote already, this is no good democracy. It will not function as a democracy. But unfortunately, I see most of America is already committed. Committed vote means no democracy. Democracy means a considered vote. So it is not about whom to elect. What is it that you want? And who is going to make that happen? That is the question. This is the time, this is the time. Some of the things that you mentioned, one of the biggest concerns right now is this: what will America be for the rest of the world also? Because I have seen that, for example, in India, people who are watching American elections with as much interest as they would watch their own elections. But this time with a little bit of amusement, unfortunately. Why they're watching this is because in some way, people are believing that whoever gets elected will be, in some sense, leader of the world. When such a privilege is put upon us, it's very important. One important thing for America is, this is a nation which has grown and flourished on individual enterprise. We have to focus on that. If this has to happen, what needs to happen in the country? We suddenly change track into something else and we think by getting into a mess all over the world, this will become better. No, this will not become better that way. I always wonder, I even spoke to one of your past presidents, and when I mentioned this, he said, this is our aim next time. But it's always next time. The thing is, see for example, America has gotten into many warlike situations or wars, where it's destroyed a few nations. Right now in the last 15 years, in our own lifetime, I always look back on World War I and World War II and wondered, how did the people of the time allow this to happen? That kind of atrocity. But in our own times, it is happening and we're allowing it to happen because we think it's not our business, but when it comes to our doorstep, it will become our business. And when it'll become our business, we don't know. Tomorrow morning, we don't know who is going to explode where. Instead of sending 150,000 soldiers and spending $1 trillion in Middle East, if you had sent out 150,000 engineers, doctors, business experts, variety of people, instead of investing $1 trillion, 1/10 of that if you had invested, you could have… the world would have loved you and it would be yours anyway. There are two ways to get the world. One is by conquest, another is by inclusion and embrace. Time has come where conquering the world is over. It's an old… it is a thought from the graveyards of the past. It is not a futuristic thought. Future does not belong to those who want to conquer. Future belongs to those who will include. If America strives to include rather than to mess around with all the problems in the world, see, just a simple thing I'm telling you. There are estimates, the United Nations has made these estimates. They say something like if you spend 12 to 15 billion dollars a year, 12 to 15 billion dollars, you can nourish every child on the planet till they're 6 years of age. I'm saying if you do this, will the world love you? If you spend another 10–15 billion dollars per year, you can educate every child in impoverished society. The amount of skill that you will develop in the world and the level of loyalty that you will have, this nation has been built by importing skills from everywhere, isn't it? Isn't it important you cultivate skill everywhere in the world, invest in that, rather than bombing it out? So these policies have come from the past, from the fear that was there in the past. The world has changed. It is a privilege, it is a tremendous possibility that today there is only one really major power on the planet. This is the time to change the language on the planet. This is the time to shift the world from war to well-being. America has this responsibility, and you as people and citizens of the nation, you must demand this is what you want. One simple… two or three simple things you must ask them to promise, who is going to do it? They will get the vote, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. See, it is not a person that you're electing, it's an office. In Tamil language, there is a saying about selecting the kings in the past. When it comes to a king, Nallavan venuma, Vallavan venuma, it means, do you want a good man or do you want a capable man? So when it comes to the leader, we want a capable person. It is for you to decide who is capable on an individual basis, not because you belong to a Republican tribe or a Democratic tribe. Tribal warfare is not considered democracy. The beauty of democracy is power can shift, running a nation. In the past, if the power has to shift, blood had to flow. Yes or no? From one king to another, if it has to shift, lot of blood had to flow. Now democracy means the beauty of democracy is we can shift power gracefully without a drop of blood dropping. That is the beauty of it. But this will be only functional when you have a considered oath, not when you have a committed oath. So you must put across not too many things, 2 or 3 things that must happen for this nation. And say, ask them before the next debate, you have a social media, you can reach them. There was a time you couldn't reach them, now you can reach them. You ask them who is going to make a commitment that they will not open a new theater of war in the world. We have enough of that stuff going. America will not open up a new theater of war. There are other ways to address problems on the planet. And America will invest in well-being, not in war. The amount of money that's being invested in the war machine is unnecessary. This comes from the Cold War times when there are 2 big guns. Now one gun has collapsed. This is the time to shift the world from war to well-being. And this is the way the future and future prosperity of this nation and every other nation on the planet can be assured, is that everybody invests in each other's well-being in different ways. That is the only way that we will not continue to fight, because we cannot afford to fight in future because we are not fighting with sticks and swords anymore. We are fighting with that kind of weapons where nobody can win, isn't it? Not only nobody can win, nobody can exist at the end of the fight. When we are in that kind of capability, we must understand that our fundamental way of handling the world should move from investing in war to investing in well-being of the world. Just Just get this promise from them, who is going to do it, and let them get the vote. But it must be your individual considered vote. You should not vote as a tribe.